Like and subscribe right now, or else this will be in your bed tonight. What is the funniest shit that you saw at school? There was this guy, his name was, no joke, Harold Balls, and yes, he went by Harry. He was on the swim team and some kid from the other school was reading out the lineup on a PA to swim meet when he got to Harry Balls and clearly thought it was a joke, and he burst out laughing when he said it. Harry just walked off and quit the swim team. Poor kid, never had a chance in hell. But if your name is Harold Balls, why would you go by Harry if you weren't going to earn the joke? Right? He said he went by Harry and figured the kid did that for the damn joke. A couple guys I went to high school with came in one day wearing Spider-Man and Venom costumes under their clothes. During lunch they shared their regular clothes and fought. Who won? Nobody. Everyone lost that day, except the principal for starting a betting pool on who would win, and then kept all the money for himself. Flashbacks to our last week of school, when my friends did different theme days, pajama day etc. I didn't participate until the last day, when I said F it, why not? It was Superhero Day. Nobody else dressed up, and I was the idiot going to class in a Wonder Woman costume. Some kid shat himself whilst wrestling in PE. He denied it ever happened even though everyone saw. About a week later some other lad climbed onto the roof of a house neighboring my school, trying to get our ball back, and found his shit-stained clothes on top of the roof. Instead of leaving them there, the lad kicked them off the roof into the neighbor's drive. The neighbor came to the school and complained after finding shit-covered garments with my school's logo on. We had a whole school assembly about the issue. The kid didn't come forward and admit it was him. The teachers ended up looking at CCTV to find out who the culprit was. Kid who shat himself was most likely seen running naked outside and throwing his shit-covered clothes onto a roof. Lad who climbed onto the roof was caught kicking them into the drive and climbing on the roof. The climber was suspended for a few days. The kid who shat himself was never seen again. I think he may have left due to embarrassment. Poor guy, hoped he's doing well, but f me, it was hilarious. Okay, but why was his first, second reaction to strip naked and throw his clothes on the roof? Well, I assume he thought he wouldn't have been able to hide the clothes due to the smell and feared getting ridiculed for the rest of his school life. So he ran out the changing rooms into the little walkway and attempted to throw them over the wall. He would have got away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids. When I was in 3rd grade, the principal said that we are gonna host a crown party because of a recent event. So in the next 2 days we were all dressed royal and stuff. But then you see the class next to me, they misheard crown for clown, and lem tell you, these kids looked so funny. I kinda felt bad because they might have been embarrassed. But hey, what else can I do? Every court needs a jester. In middle school I saw a girl run into a pole cause she wasn't looking. She screamed, then kicked the pole and screamed again 10/10. She's all set for adulthood. I had something similar happen while playing basketball in my driveway. The ball bounced off the rim and hit me in the face, knocking off my glasses. In frustration I immediately kicked the ball, which then bounced off the pole and hit me square at the gut. It was like some slapstick cartoon shit, but it was as funny as it was infuriating. I've shared this before, but it still cracks me up thinking about it. Halloween costumes were banned at my high school because of some idiots like 10 years before that dressed up and used it as an excuse to hide their face while they vandalized the school. My senior year, more than half of the class decided that we would still dress up and march into the school together in the morning. We all knew we would be punished right away, but it didn't matter. I stayed up all night making a suit of armor out of metallic duct tape and cardboard, along with a broomstick horse to ride. Here is a picture that ended up in the yearbook. The next day we all gathered in the parking and waited for everyone to show up. People went all out and there were a lot of amazing costumes, and after about 20 minutes of waiting we started our march in. The deans had learned of our plan and were waiting for us right as we entered. They started pulling people aside in groups and taking student IDs to hand out detentions. In my group there was one guy dressed up as an ATM, and when the dean asked for his ID he started making ATM noises and then slipped the ID out through the slot where you would put your debit card in. It was one of the funniest things, and I was so jealous that my costume was not as clever as his. Even though having so many of us participate was pretty awesome, his costume just made that whole event for me. Back in high school I saw this kid just totally eat it down a staircase of at least 10 steps. Then he got up immediately and ran off screaming, "I'm okay. I'm a guy." He ran off to cry in the bathroom. When I was a young teacher at a formal school in England, wore skirts and heels every day. I did this one day while balancing books and papers in one hand and a cup of tea in another. Paper cup with a lid, so at least it didn't spill more than a little splash. I totally slipped and just fell down a whole staircase because I couldn't use my arms to catch me. It was before school, between teacher meeting and the start bell, I think. I looked up and only one student was close enough to see a student I didn't teach or even know. I stood up, brushed off my skirt, and looked at him squarely and said, "You didn't see anything," and moved on. I didn't even look at his reaction or give him time to answer. I was in robotics. Our supervising teacher had gone to his office to get something, and we were getting ready to leave. It was like 7 PM and we were all hyped up on pure adrenaline and the smell of Gearbox lube. Somehow, a discussion over what exercises to do to get fit started. At the start, it was innocent. Stuff like, you cannot only lose weight on your stomach area, you gotta lose the fat between your inner organs first. Okay, but like, how? Why can he do 10 more push-ups than you can? Unsurprisingly, considering we're a bunch of teenagers left alone in an empty classroom, it quickly spiraled into a debate into what would happen if you did lots of squats. Would your butt get smaller and flatter due to the fat loss, or would it get bigger due to muscle gain? A girl, which we'll call C, has her jacket half on, dangling off of one shoulder, and she says, in the most serious voice, "No, you are all wrong. You get sculpted ass. No, hear me out. Have you seen those Greek statues? Sculpted ass." She keeps repeating the phrase to emphasize her point, and it gradually escalates. Sculpted ass, sculpted ass, sculpted ass, sculpted ass. At that moment, our supervising teacher walks in. The door was open, and the school was basically empty at this point. C has her back to the door and is busy emphasizing sculpted ass. I look over, and our teacher has the most bewildered, confused yet amused look on his face. It was priceless. I collapsed on the floor due to laughter, and while wheezing I told them, "Mr. P is here." A look of horror crossed C's face after she realized what I was saying, and she turned around and started profusely apologizing. At which point our teacher said, "You guys continue," and sat down in a desk in an optimal viewing spot. It was glorious. We were playing soccer in gym class and a classmate of me kicked the ball really hard and the ball hit our gym teacher right in the f***ing face while he was sitting on a bench reading, and his glasses flew off his face. He was f***ing angry, but it was an accident, so my classmate didn't get in trouble, even though most of us think he did it on purpose. Did people not like the gym teacher? Almost no one likes their gym teacher. Even if you like your normal gym teacher, there's at least one sub-gym teacher you hated. I once hated a sub for calling me a boy and his dumb version of dodgeball. Guess my school was weird. Gym teachers were the chilliest guys there, really laid back. Many of us treated gym class as a second recess, and as long as you did your best the teachers pretty much handed you good grades. Once, in 5th grade, we had a lockdown drill, and this kid hopped up onto the lockers. Above the lockers, there were windows that looked into the classroom. He looked through, and in a really strange voice, yelled, "I see you." This is an underrated response. I genuinely laughed out loud. First thing that comes to mind, friend pointed a laser pen into a science class goldfish's eye. The fish turned upside down and floated to the top of the tank. Teacher didn't notice, but some other kids saw, and we were worried it would get back to us. Lesson ended next day. Fish was fine. Sounds like that fish taught you all a lesson that day. Guess he schooled you, haha. One kid was walking around and asking kids in his class for a dime because he just 10 cents away from buying something from the vending machine. Then he sees one of his friends walking in hallway and asks him for a dime, and he says, "Yeah, I got a dime. I'll hook you up in the parking after school." He was talking about drugs, but the dean was literally 10 feet. Long story short, they found drugs and a knife in his backpack when they searched him. My friend asked to go to the bathroom, and the teacher responded with, "I don't know. Can you?" And he said, "I don't know. Can you settle the divorce you're in?" By the way, he couldn't settle it. That line always pissed me off. Like, fine, I'll just walk out without saying anything then. It might not be grammatically correct, but it's the common saying. Thank you very much for watching. In the comments under the video, write something on this topic, and also do not forget to watch our other videos. Bye.